you want to give us a little overview about what you'll be covering?
Sure. So we're going to walk through kind of the basic stuff, like what is Google My Business? How do you use it? How can you leverage it? What that looks like for your business. And then we're going to dive into some of the deeper things like going into posts, images. How do you optimize your GMB profile? What does it look like once you start optimizing your business? And then kind of how that rolls out. So just so you guys can see from clients that I've worked with in the past up until what's working now, and just kind of everything in between. So I just kind of want to do it as like a cursory, like a white hat level presentation. Like we're not going to talk about some of the weirder stuff that you can do with GMB. I think that's a little like 201. This is more of a 101 just to kind of give people an overview of what you can really do in not a lot of time.
Cool.
So we're going to cover at least some of the basics. We're going to get into some of the more advanced stuff and then how to, of course, scale and automate, because I hate doing stuff that I don't want to do. So, and GMB is one of those things that I would rather set it, forget it, and just let it run and just know that I'm getting results. So we're going to walk through some of that today too.
Sweet. I love it. And as a reminder, guys, this is these Thursday classes run about an hour long. And it's when we interview experts on their trade about, how do they do their expertise. And then sometimes there's a piece of it that Jarvis can help with. But we like to really tackle the before and after in the workflow. So it's not just a full product training. You really get you hit your goal. And today the goal is getting ranked on Google My Business. Jarvis will be mentioned in a little bit of it and talking about the templates that we have around that, but it's higher level than that as well.
Yep, exactly.
So if you have any questions, you can post in the chat, and we'll continue the conversations later on also in the Facebook group. So join that if you're not already in it.
Yep. All right. Well, let's see. We're about 8 minutes in, so let's get this train moving. All right. Give me 1 sec. Fire up screen share.
And this is your show, buddy. So I'll put myself on mute, and I'll be the voice of the crowd. If they have any questions, I'll find the right time to pause you and ask it.
Right on. Sounds good. All right. So before we get started, well, actually, as we're getting started, basically this presentation is going to be just that, a presentation. I don't want to, for the privacy of my clients and NDAs and stuff like that, I can't go into a GMB live and show you what that looks like for disclosure reasons. So we're going to walk through some of the steps, and then what I can show you, I'm going to. And I've taken screenshots from Google My Business so you guys can see exactly what I'm looking at, how it works, and then client privacy, all that stuff has been blurred. So we're good. So forgive me if it's a little bit dry. I hate doing PowerPoint presentations. I'd rather do it live and on the fly with you guys like last time, but just the nature of the business, I can't. So we're going to rock and roll and go kind of through this kind of at a quick pace, but also just to kind of get the ball rolling. So what's Google My Business? For those of you who don't know, GMB is a newer program from several older tools, Google Local, Google Maps, Google Business Center. Eventually got too confusing. And then there was like Google Plus Local and all this other stuff. And Google just kind of got sick and just went, okay, screw it. We're going to take all of these and just crush them together, and came out with Google My Business in 2014. So there were different iterations and different things. You might remember, if you've been online for any amount of time, Google My Business used to be a Google Maps listing in the middle of the page with about 7 different businesses. Now they've shortened it up to 3 just to make it easier for people to choose. So that's kind of what it is. But Google My Business, if you're a local or service-based business, is going to be, your best friend when it comes to doing local marketing. There is no better platform to do it on, because Google is giving you the opportunity as a business owner to leverage and utilize their platform using a Google property. Essentially, you are now using Google in order to bring yourself business. And if you play in their sandbox, they will reward you handsomely. So that's just kind of an overview. And why they did it is because the more data they can put in their platform, the better they can serve you guys. Excuse me. So as a business owner, that just makes it that much easier for you to get what you need. So having customers for directions, call ahead. They just opened up a beta messaging feature so you can have leads message back and forth with you. There's an app for your phone. Basically, it boils down to, and I have this later in the presentation as well, but Google's given you the opportunity to build your own website and your brand, your company inside of Google's data sphere, we'll call it. So basically the more information you can feed Google into the Google My Business platform, the more they're going to reward you for using their platform. Plain and simple. So they have an app where you can do stuff, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. But basically having the app and having a Google My Business, you complete transparency between you and the business. It's like having a Facebook page for your business, but it shows up in the search engines, which is super cool. So we're going to kind of run through the rest of this. So just a couple different things you can do with GMB, whether you're doing it traditionally or you're doing it with some modified methods. These are the basic ones. So making sure that you can get traffic to your business. There is a difference between maps traffic and search engine traffic, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Managing your online reputation, so reviews, comments, posts, anything that people leave on your profile, you can kind of go through and moderate that. Getting local metrics. So for example, if you have a service area of, let's say, Dallas, and you want to see exactly what zip code you're most frequently getting people for driving directions or phone calls or people leaving messages and trying to interact with you, it'll show you on a map and say, okay, well, this came from this zip code, this came from this zip code, this came from a mobile, this came from a desktop, this came from a tablet. So you can see how people are searching for you, and also better utilize, that'll help you knowing that data. That'll help you to optimize your site, which we'll talk about in the next session that Austin and I do in a couple weeks. So that's another cool thing as well. And again, like I had said earlier, communicating with customers and prospects, the new messaging feature is fantastic for that. And then creating offers, updates, and events. With the shutdown happening, the pandemic, and all that sort of stuff, Google My Business became really pivotal for a lot of businesses because they were able to update their hours on the fly. They were able to put promotions up. They were able to do, put a link to their whatever service they were using, whether it's DoorDash or Grubhub, or if they built their own delivery service, they could put that in the Google My Business, and people could go right from there looking for whatever it is, Chinese food, pizza, whatever. Find what they wanted from that business, click order, and they would never have to touch the website. They would just go into Google and find it and do it that way. So Google My Business kind of got a fast forward, so to speak, during the shutdown last year because everything went digital. So this can be your greatest asset if you use it properly. And again, interacting in real time when somebody finds you from a search, using that messaging feature that I keep talking about. Pretty much somebody puts in a quote for something and you can respond right away and start getting in touch and actually get them booked for an appointment or a consult or a job or whatever it is that you do, you can do straight through Google My Business, which eliminates the need for like contact forms and stuff like that. So that kind of helps as well. So saying all that, I'm sure you guys are saying, cool, what else you got? So we're going to go through some data that I have from previous clients. I'm going to keep it short and to the point. So here is one client. So we started working with them middle of August, and then they kind of just took off after we started doing stuff. So they were a brand new business that started last year towards the Q3, Q4. And basically we just took it, did our optimizations, and started making posts and doing all these other things. And they took off like a rocket. We just helped them with, excuse me, like visibility, making sure they were optimized, all that sort of stuff, and just doing some of the things. But you can see down here on the bottom, out of 307,000 views, 297,000 of them came just from maps. Only 10,000 of those came from search. So, I mean, we're talking about night and day difference between how much traffic you can send to your website versus how many people can actually find you if you optimize correctly. So that's one. Here's another one for a different kind of business. They had us pretty much come on for a month and started doing stuff. So this is just from like the end of August, start of September, and things just kind of took off same way. They were kind of established already, so it was a little bit harder to move the needle, but still worked fairly well. And same thing here. So 224,000 views, 217 of those came just from Google Maps. So getting local and search intent is key to doing a lot of this stuff. And then just to show this really quickly. So this is kind of a breakdown that you'll see inside of your Google My Business. So the green is people looking for your business name directly. The yellow is people looking for your brand that's related to your business. And then the blue is discovery, which is like your SEO type stuff. So you can see that was almost 92% of the traffic for one of our clients over the course of a quarter. So over 90 days, 49,363 different people were able to find us just by doing Google My Business optimization. This isn't even including their website, their social, blogging, any of the other stuff. This is just Google My Business. So this is kind of the power and leverage that you can have in using a tool like this, which makes things really, really simple to basically come out on top. So, all right, I'm done bragging. So let's continue rolling along. So first thing you're going to need to do is punch in and set up your GMB. First thing I recommend you do is go to Google Maps, or Google My Business, type in the name of your business and see if something pops up, because chances are, it happens sometimes, but not all the time, is that Google might have collected enough data about your business from the rest of the internet, like Yelp and all those other different types of services, if you've previously set those up. If it finds enough data that's relevant, Google will go ahead and auto-generate a Google My Business on your behalf, and you might only just have to go and claim it. So it'll pop up and say, hey, do you own this business? You click it and say yes, and it'll say, okay, cool. We're going to do a couple things, and we're going to send you a verification code in order to get you signed up. And then pretty much the GMB is yours. If you don't have one, you can go to business.google.com/create and start filling out the form for your business and get that set up. And then there's two options from there. So they'll either ask you to verify your Google My Business via phone, which is less common than doing it by mail. So those are really the two choices. Is they'll either ring you up and you'll get an automated message and say, this is your verification code, punch this in. And then you go ahead, punch it in. It says, cool, your GMB is set up. Happy posting. And that's pretty much it. Or the other way is you have to do it via snail mail. So it takes like 5 days to get there, depending on the post office and the weather and whatever else is going on in the world. It might take a little bit to get there. So by doing it that way, that's pretty much all you do is go get it set up, punch in the 6-digit code, and you're good to go. There's other ways to get GMBs. If you don't have a GMB listing, or if you're a virtual business, you can do it a couple different ways. Or if you're a lead generation business, I'm going to lightly cover this because this is gray-ish, black hat-ish. It depends on your risk tolerance, how you want to do this. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not an attorney. I'm just a marketer. No liability, blah, 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 blah. So one of the things you can do if you need to get a Google My Business in a location is you can go ahead on Craigslist and you can post that you are willing to pay someone X number of dollars to send a postcard to their house and then have them text you that code. So you do that, you set it up, and this is for service-based businesses only, not brick and mortar locations. So service business versus brick and mortar, people come to your business, service areas like a plumber, roofer, contractor, something like that, where you go out and do jobs. So important difference between the two. So,
locations, how do you still get the traffic and rank here in Google My Business?
So that's kind of what we're going through now. So setting one of those up and getting that going is you set yourself up as a service-based business. And then depending on where you serve, so if you are a national company, let's say, and you want to have a virtual office in this city, you can go and get somebody in that city to go ahead and, send you a verification code for a postcard. And then you just simply map out, we serve like the DFW area, or we serve the greater Austin metro, or whatever in the city or the state that you want to have a business. And this way it gives you a larger quote unquote brand presence. So you can do things like that. Just know that the post office is not really a fan of people faking their address, and they can get kind of nasty about it. So PO boxes, no. PO box doesn't work. UPS doesn't work. I'm trying to think of what else. Even doing like co-working spaces like Regis or any of those other ones, they've started cracking down on. So you got to be careful with how you set it up. But most of the time, you can go to Craigslist or any classified website, Kijiji, whatever, and say, hey, I'll pay you $50 if you send me a code off a postcard. And most people during COVID are like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah, I can work from home. So you do,
and
that
stranger's address isn't put out there publicly for people to show up to.
Correct. So there's two different ways that you can set up. Like I was mentioning before, you can have either a branded, a service area business, or you can have a business with an actual name, address, phone number listing. So you can do it either way. So like the service-based industries, roofers, plumbers, contractors, people that visit your house or your place of business to do business, you can do a service area business, and instead of showing your address, it'll say, hey, we serve these areas. So it'll say, hey, we serve North Dallas, we serve Plano, we serve the Colony, blah, 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 whatever. Instead of showing your address. So basically a Google map will pop up and it'll have a little ring like you would see on like a Google map of like, this is our service area. And if you happen to be there, then you'll probably get a thing from us. So it's just an easy way to get around doing it. And that address will never show up. You can set it to private. It'll never show up, but you still show up as a listing without having a physical address for driving directions and stuff.
Do you know what the radius is on that? Because if a local business, might have, people, let's say it's a roofing company, you might be able to serve like all different points of a city, but if it's only like a 10-mile radius or something, you might have to send out postcards to all of those different areas.
So traditionally what you would do is you would just get one Google My Business listing verified, and then you can set either the cities or the metro area, kind of like how you would set it up in any ad platform. You can set up and say, hey, we serve 25 miles of this radius, and then that one Google My Business is good for that circle. So you can do that. And then if you wanted to do it another way, you can get multiple GMBs that are kind of at the outline of each of those radii. So for example, if you had one that was for Dallas, and then you had another one that was for Fort Worth, but you want to have one that kind of touched both, you could get one in Arlington, and then you would cover the entire DFW Metroplex, depending on how you set your radius. So you could technically do it with 3 GMBs. There is the possibility with Google My Business, though, to limit how far your service area is, but there's also a way to break that. So, for example, if you say that you serve, a 30, 45-mile radius, Google might say, well, you really only serve 15 because that's where most of your clients come from. There are things that you can do to optimize your profile to kind of, quote unquote, break the parameters they gave you and then go outside of that circle.
Gotcha. Okay.
So,
and some people in the chat say that, maybe rather than radius, they would go by like 2 hours from an address.
you can do that too. For most of the clients that we work with, we tend to set specific cities or zip codes depending on where they are. Like maybe they know there's a neighborhood that they don't really want to service, or that it's not safe for their drivers or whatever. Then we'll plug in just a list of wherever the cities are that they serve, and then exclude certain zip codes from that.
Gotcha.
So you could do things like that. Also, setting up in Google, you have the option of like Nielsen DMA demographic regions. So like if I want to plug in all of DFW, I could just type in Dallas Fort Worth and it'll say Nielsen designated region, and you just click it, and then that whole area is basically pinpoint mapped out.
Okay, cool. Sounds like you can get pretty specific.
Yep. Yeah, you can go down to, hey, we're a local pizza shop. We only serve within 5 miles of our business, or, we're a 25 truck roofing team and we service the entire Metroplex and all of North Texas. You can do anything like that. It just depends on the scale of your business and where you're starting out from.
Cool. And I'd like to know, actually, in the chat, put in the type of business that you have. So, when I ask questions and stuff, I can actually make it more relevant to the type of business. I see Michael here has a legal business.
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about roofers. My dad actually has a hair salon in Ohio. My mom is a massage therapist in Georgia. So like local businesses is in my family. My grandpa has a photography studio. We got, some marketing agencies, fitness studios, window tinting, family photographer, foundation repair, flooring, talent agencies. Cool. Yeah, a lot of different kinds of businesses here. So now you can kind of think like the edges of what we're focusing on.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of all applies to multiple types of businesses. I just keep bringing up roofing because years ago I used to work doing pay-per lead marketing. So we ran probably about 150 Google My Business locations across the United States. And I'm just used to that. So I'm just using roofing as an example, but this can apply to any business, whether it's a franchise, a national business, maybe it's a personal brand, and you want to have a Google My Business where, let's say, it's connected to your website. And you want to have contact form and all that sort of stuff. When people search for, best copywriter, whatever, you can have your profile pop up there, and that could link to your website, and people could book a call and all sorts of stuff like that. So the limitations on Google My Business are almost limitless. It just depends on how you want to set it up for your business. So based on your strategy, how you're going to set up your Google My Business is going to be different than somebody else in a different spot. So like a merchant processor is going to set it up different than a pest control company. Just looking at the chat here. And a marketing agency is going to set it up different than both of those. So it really depends on how you do that, but we'll get into how to do that here in the next couple slides. So moving right along, basically, we're going to feed the local machine. And I took a screenshot of a client again. I said I was going to blur stuff out, so I did. But these are all of the options you have inside of your Google My Business. So you have your post tab. That's for making public posts. Those work the same as blog posts, or let's say like Twitter or Facebook posts. The difference is that you can put data into those, like keywords and images and stuff like that, and links to like coupons and things like that. And you can have those go to different pages on your site. And if you utilize the post function enough, Google will start to actually index those posts when people are looking for things. So if somebody types in, physical, let's say physical therapist, Atlanta, your post might show up and say, hey, our physical therapist office is here in Atlanta. We just opened a new location. Click here to book an appointment with us today. That post might show up inside of Google or inside of Google Maps. So things like that. Then down here, you have the info tab. This is where you're going to put in probably about 90% of your data for your business. And the more you can feed it, the more Google's going to reward you for it. Insights is kind of your analytics tab, reviews tab to obviously interface with customers when they leave a review, messages tab, which I'll go into a little bit later, where people can actually message you and ask for quotes and appointments and things like that. Photos, which is mission critical to a lot of Google My Business listings. And then these two always need to be filled out. So depending on your business, if you're a product-based business, you want to fill out all your products, put pictures, prices, all that sort of stuff into Google My Business. So you can upload your product feed, for example, and put that in there. That would be a good idea. Or at least your top bestsellers if you're a local business. And then services, you would build this out for whatever you do. So like with the carpet cleaning guy, cleaning for oriental rugs, regular carpet cleaning, cleaning for floors, steam cleaning, kitchen tile floor cleaning, grout cleaning, whatever. Those would all be different services, and you can label those under here. Google My Business also, if you don't have a website, will provide one for you that you can fill out and enter data into. If you don't want to take the time to set up a website or WordPress or whatever, and you just have a Google My Business, you can just push it right through here. So you can do things like that. And then you can add users to help you manage your account and do all the different data managing and posting and whoever's on your team. So first thing.
You can find if you just type in Google. We have a whole bunch of templates related to, there's the Google Ads description, there's the what's new post, the event post, product description, offer post, all of these things that we've trained based on consulting with SEO experts on, what would a really high quality version of the event post do. And Jarvis has learned from that and be able to write on behalf of your brand.
Exactly. So there's a fun little thing that not a lot of people know. So looking at all the things that I just had up on the screen here. So you've got the posts, you've got reviews, messages, photos, products, services, and website. This all looks a lot like the stuff you'd normally have access to in, like, let's say a WordPress site or a Wix site or anything for like a local business oriented agency website. So just by putting the data in here, what I'm getting at is that you can just get a Google My Business, and just by filling these out, you can have a full-fledged business. You don't need to have a website to do this. A website will help, but it's not mission critical. And even if it is, down here, Google provides the option for you to build an auto-generated website based on the data you've put in these other boxes. So it'll go ahead and build out a products page for you with all your products, or a services page with all your services listed, plus your photos, plus client reviews, plus a place where they can message you. So you can just use this as a business dashboard and not have to worry about, oh, how's my site going to rank in Google, or what am I going to do about this? So if you're just getting started, this is a perfect platform, especially for a local business where you can get started with, without a developer, without a programmer, without somebody to put all the different things together. And then as you scale, you can go build a website out later after you've gotten all of this stuff done correctly.
About how often should you post here in the Google My Business?
So that is entirely up to you. However, what I do recommend is I would say 2 to 3 times a week. So your choice, either Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you have deals on the weekend, if you're a business open on the weekend, you can always post those. And we'll go through the post types later as well. But it's the trick with Google is consistency of posting. So if you're going to make 3 posts a week, make them 3 posts a week at the same time every single week. And then you just kind of have to keep up that consistency. So it's really up to you as to how many you want to do, but just know that you should keep a rhythm and a cadence with that. Google's still a search engine, but it likes seeing that frequency and regularity. So if it knows that you're constantly using the platform, it'll favor you over other people. So one of the things that's most important for Google My Business is setting up your categories. And I'll put this link here in the chat for you guys as well. There's over 4,000 categories you can pick from for your business, but they're kind of scattered throughout, and there's all sorts of stuff. You have everything from your regular businesses all the way up to obscure categories like crime scene cleanup and other businesses like that, because they still, they're a service and Google has to kind of give them a little bit of a break. But you can find a ton of different things that might fit your business, but pick the one that's most relevant to you. So like, for example, with the carpet cleaning guy, obviously our default category is going to be carpet cleaning. If you're a personal injury attorney, don't pick attorney, pick personal injury attorney. And then you can go into like slip and fall, accidents, DUI, whatever. All of those different subtopics are categories that Google has. So you can go ahead and go through those and add them, but the main one is always the most important. So whatever you normally say to people when you meet them, like, oh, I'm a shop owner, I'm a roofer, I'm the marketing agency. Make sure that that's the category that you pick to start. And then you can get more granular with the second and third and fourth and fifth categories. Then moving on from there, make sure you enter as much data as you possibly can into your GMB. In fact, I want you to put everything you've possibly ever done with your business into Google My Business. The reason being is because the more data you can feed Google, the more Google can feed you customers. So it's kind of a two-way street. If you give them enough data about you that they're happy, they'll turn around and reward you for sharing that data with them. Of course, they're a data company. They want to be able to advertise to all the different businesses that are out there and their customers and all that sort of stuff, because at the root of it, Google is an advertising engine that built out a bunch of different ways to get people to pay for ads around their business. So Google started off as a search engine, and of course they needed to monetize. So they started doing AdWords. That became massive. Then they started building Gmail. There's ads in Gmail. You go to YouTube, there's ads in YouTube. You go to Google My Business, you can run ads in Google My Business. So every one of these free platforms that they have, there's an advertising opportunity attached to it, and they are monetizing your data. But if you feed them the right data, of course, they're going to give you what you want, because Google is Skynet at this point. Like, they just own everything. But the more you give them, the more they're going to give back, which is kind of cool.
Categories or subcategories should you put?
I normally recommend about 3, max of 5.
Okay, cool.
You can do more. I just find for most clients, if you're starting at a small local scale, you don't have to go crazy, because you're also going to fill out your products and your services on the other pages. So anything that you don't have will be either a product or a service listing on that GMB. So you don't have to go overboard or overkill with that. So to give you an example of what the info looks like, once you go ahead and sign up and do all that, this is pretty much what's in there. So the name of the business, you can see here the categories we've picked: carpet cleaning service, carpet store, flooring store, carpet installer, floor refinishing service, all different stuff. Then here we've got the name, address, phone number. the service areas, which I've got 16 for this client. You can plug in additional holidays, information like that. So like Memorial Day is marked off. They had a vacation day or something here. And then you can put multiple phone numbers in here. So for example, you could have the main line for your business. And what I usually do if I'm working with a client is this secondary number here is the client's actual phone number. This first number up here, if I'm working on the Google My Business, is my call tracking number. So this becomes the primary. It still gets forwarded to this number, but this becomes the primary for all of the business that I'm going to send them. This way we can track exactly who it is, listen to recordings, because most local businesses don't have, they don't have call tracking or call recording for their business. So I'll throw in a call tracking number so they can log in and listen to how their staff is handling those calls and leads that we're helping them to generate and send. So
what call tracking software do you recommend?
So I actually just use Twilio. I'm kind of a code nerd, so I go in and I'll create my own flow and stuff like that. You can use either call tracking metrics is good or call rail works really well. Just know that you're going to pay.
Rail before. Yeah,
they're pretty good. But just know that you're going to pay more than you would for Twilio, just because you're paying for the infrastructure that they're using, but they're still using Twilio.
Yeah.
So like Twilio is like the back end software for all these different businesses. And then they just build a software platform on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have like their handle. Basically, you can create a handle for the business here. It's what the @ symbol's for. Their URL to their website. You can put in appointment booking links. So if you have different services, or like, let's say you're a physical therapist or a chiropractor and you want to put in, half-hour session, full-hour session, whatever, you can put different links to different booking services directly in the Google My Business. So that if somebody looks you up and says, oh, well, I wonder if I can find an appointment with them. Cool. Here's a link for it. And then here, the products, you can add different products and stuff that you sell. So like the carpet cleaner might sell like their shampoo or whatever the chemical solvent is they use to clean tile. They would be able to sell stuff like that under this category. And then you have some other ones that they haven't really filled out. So like from the business, you can add attributes. Accessibility is like, do they have a handicap compliant parking lot? Do they have spots in the front? Or, is somebody on staff that can help them if somebody is hearing impaired? Things like that. Health and safety came about. This category came about obviously because of the pandemic. So they'll ask, do they wipe down surfaces in between service calls? Do they do this? Do they wear masks? Do they wear gloves? Are they following guidelines? And you can put that in about your business there. Then you can put in a description down at the bottom for your business. The stuff I've blurred out is obviously keywords and cities and stuff that we're trying to rank for. So those have been taken out. Date that the business is opened. You can add photos down here. And then the one that I was talking about before is services. So I've got carpet cleaning services, a whole bunch of these yellow ones, and then a bunch more black. And what the yellow ones are is because I have their website connected here to the Google My Business, these are other relevant keywords that Google is finding inside of their website. And Google, being as smart as it thinks it is trying to automatically add them to my Google My Business listing for this client. So, yes.
Pull in those keywords here into Google My Business.
Yep, exactly. Or vice versa. So they technically, your local website and your Google My Business can feed each other and cross-reference data. So it becomes really interesting. Like if you hook up Search Console and Analytics to the same account you've got your GMB in, you can see all of your data. Like there's nothing left off the table at that point. We haven't accepted these categories yet. Otherwise they would be black, because I'm having the client go through and write up descriptions for each one of these so that we have all the information we need before any of that happens.
Cool. And what about using keywords in your title, the name of your business, and in the descriptions and all of that? Like, do you do it the same that you would for a website SEO?
Yes, but don't overdo it. I actually have a slide about that in here. So let me see. There you go.
You're on it, man.
I try. I mean, I've got a little bit of experience doing this. So, but look, kind of how I have it written here, we're doing SEO. And basically SEO is any platform that's not social. you're doing SEO on. So whether it's a blog, a forum, if it's a public page on the internet, you can do SEO on that page. So like if you go make a Blogger account or WordPress account or whatever, that's a post. Same thing with Google My Business. If you go in and you make a post, Google counts that as SEO. So do your keyword research. You can use whatever tool you want, whether it's Google Keyword Planner, Surfer, Phrase, whatever. They're all pretty much the same. You go in, do your research, figure out which ones you want, and then just kind of put them throughout the page, throughout the website, throughout your different products and services. Don't like try and force it in there. So like if you're going for carpet cleaning and you're like, hey, we're the best carpet cleaner in Dallas, Texas, blah, 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 and you're putting that in a product description, Google's going to say, what are you doing? That's not how we do business around here. And they'll ding you some points for that. So try not to go crazy with it. Take stuff from Jarvis and maybe add a keyword or two, or like a related keyword. Don't go overboard. Just like a little here and there. Like going back to like old school fairy tale stories. Like give Google breadcrumbs. Leave a trail of breadcrumbs for Google to follow and pick up, and they'll go, okay. Oh, so you're a realtor in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Got it. So we should show you for realtors or people looking to buy houses in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. Like play stupid with Google, and Google will kind of just nod and follow along. So, and then let's go through some of the posts. So these are your options when you go into the back end. This is just a screenshot out of the back of Google My Business. So you've got the option to put up a COVID-19 update. So if they, change the threat level or whatever they're doing, I don't even know anymore. If you want to post a COVID-19 update, there's a button for it. If you want to make an offer or a promo for the weekend and say, like come in, it's buy one, get one subs or whatever, depending on your business. Like let's say it's a sandwich shop, come in, buy one hero, get one half off or something like that with a purchase of $20 or more. Whatever. You can do an update like, hey, we just got new stuff in, take a picture of whatever you guys just got shipped in. Events, if you're running stuff or if you're going to be in like a competition. I know as things start to open back up, like if you're a restaurant and you're going to be at like the burger battle of San Francisco Bay or something like that, and you guys want to promote that, there's an event button and say, hey, we're going to be there. Come check us out in the truck, take a picture of the truck and you can upload it. Or if you get a new product in, you can make a post about that. Like, hey, we just started putting bacon on our burgers, which I don't know why that would be a new thing, but who knows? But these are all the different things you can do. And these all count to Google as mini blog posts. So these will show up inside of your feed on your actual Google My Business. They'll say recent posts, and then whatever you've posted is listed underneath. So these are all things that somebody can find and crawl and search for on the internet.
So when you say post 2 to 3 times a week, I'm choosing, variety from this list of 5.
Mm-hmm. Normally, I find for most clients, at least the way that we're doing it, is most of the time, let's say 70% of the time, it's going to be an update. Maybe 10% of the time, it's going to be an event. And maybe 20% of the time, it's going to be an offer. Yeah, because doing it this way, like if you think about this is basically the posting bar inside Facebook. So whatever you're normally doing on Facebook, just switch it to Google My Business. They're going to reward you with customers. Facebook is just going to put you at the bottom of the feed unless you pay. So instead of trying to fight Facebook's algorithm and, I've got 10,000 fans and I can never reach out to them and blah, 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 just go and do it on Google. And then they'll say, oh, you want this to go out to everybody within this area? Cool. If they're searching for it, we'll show it to them. It's a much easier partnership than trying to fight social.
And people will probably, end up doing both, right?
Yeah, of course. You can cross post if you want. There's tools to help you cross post. Like there's a tool called Missing Letter you can use for cross posting. It does GMB, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I think they just added Instagram. So that's 5
like
socials.
Hootsuite or Buffer, any of those post on here to Google My Business?
It can. There's actually a couple different tools that I use, depending on how you want to do it. Zappy could, but it gets a little messy. Okay. What I usually do is there's a tool called Local Viking. I'll throw that here in the chat. And basically it does reporting, optimization. You can schedule posts. There's no function to schedule posts inside of GMB directly, but you can go ahead and generate a bunch of posts in Jarvis, like let's say a month's worth of posts, and schedule them out inside of Local Viking and then just let it run. And you never have to look at it again. Or if you're running, like, let's say a franchise business and you've got 10 locations, you can go generate the same amount of posts with Jarvis and then just simply switch out the cities and schedule all 10 of your franchise locations to all have the same promos and all have the same updates across the entire city or metroplex or however far your business expands, all at the same time. Yeah. It's, yeah, for people who are running either one Google My Business or multiple Google My Businesses, depending on how big your business is. Local Viking makes it easy to track, report, monitor, check rankings, all in one spot. And I'm not affiliated with them, so that's just one of the tools I use that I happen to like. There's another one called Local Falcon, and then there's another one called DBA Platform as well, if you want to check those out. Those are the three that I've used in the past that I really enjoy. Absolutely. So after we make our posts, obviously we also want to upload photos. So Google gives you a ton of options for photos and stuff that you can upload. You can take photos. Your customers can come into your business and take photos. You can upload a 360 panoramic of the inside of your business, videos, interior product, interior, exterior shots, products, teams, branding, identity stuff, all of that. So you can use any of those. And then product editor, same thing. You can showcase products. So again, why are we doing all this? And as I mentioned earlier, the secret to Google My Business is that it's a Google-owned website and social platform for your business. The more that you use it, the more they'll reward you. It's really that easy. If you want to have more business, focus on GMB. Put the app on your phone, install it. Whenever you're open or whatever, if somebody sends a message, send one back. Somebody sends a review, send thank you. Somebody sends a less than amicable review, say, hey, sorry that happened, blah, 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 blah. Just do rep management how you would normally do it. Don't blow up. There's a million stories online on how people have absolutely tanked their business by responding less than nice. Let's put it that way. to customers, and they tend to rally against you if you do stuff like that. So here's an example of a client that we were working with, maps versus search. So this was from, what was it? Yeah. So January 6th to March 5th versus September to January. So 337% increase, 59% increase here. Same thing here, driving directions, phone calls, visits on website. And these are all factors that you can find in the back end of your Google My Business listing. Increases in direct.
Numerator and denominator there?
So it's the time frame versus the other time frame. So we're looking at, this is September 6th to January 6th, 2021. And then when we started picking up was basically January 6th to March 5th, which is the second number here. So this is the amount of increase they saw in working with us over 2 months.
Got it. Cool.
Yeah. So different things like that. And then as an example, for the carpet cleaning guy, obviously I took out the city and state. But so this is where they were ranking on January 18th of this year. And then a week later, all these little blue dots are where they're ranking in Google Maps for those keywords. So they went from 51 to 3, 39 to 3, 46 to 2 in a week, just by doing some of the stuff that I've talked about here.
It could be a really quick win for people if they just put in the effort. And how long do you think it'll take to get this up and going for them?
So this will take about half the time it takes SEO, because Google My Business is a Google-owned platform. And if there's one thing that Google loves, it's itself. Google's extremely narcissistic. That's why it gives preference to YouTube over Vimeo. That's why it gives preference to Google My Business over Facebook Local. If you play on their platform, you stay on their platform, kind of thing. So the more that you are active inside of Google My Business, the more they reward you for it, the more they keep building up your brand. But you can start seeing results. I mean, this is literally a 1 week snapshot difference between the 18th and the 24th, or 6-day snapshot difference.
Wow. Incredible.
So,
and how much work effort hours do you think it'll take for a business owner to do this for their own thing?
If you're using Jarvis, probably about an hour a month. And then if you're scheduling with local Viking, probably even less. Um, yeah, just because you can keep track of all that stuff, you can optimize it, you can do whatever you want. Um, that's really all I had as far as going through it. Just be consistent with your posts. So here's the top 3 takeaways: get all your info in there, get as much info as possible, load every photo you can possibly take, preferably take it with some device that has geotagging on it, whether it's a camera that's got geotagging on it or a cell phone. Because Google will figure out, oh, this is the location. This is actually the location, because people upload stock images all the time. Try not to upload stock images to your Google My Business. They will ding you for that too. They know, they have image recognition. They can find out where the image originated from faster than you know what to do with, and they'll penalize you for it. So try and get local pictures if you can. If you're working with a client, same thing. Have them go and take pictures on job sites or whatever they're doing, if they're a service business, or pictures of the store if they're not. And then just be regular with posting. Those 3 are usually enough to do enough damage to get you the results that you want.
Want to take a quick break for Q&A here. We got probably about 5 minutes, and then we'll jump over here to, as I queue up Conversion.ai, and show how you can use Jarvis to do some of this posting. But now's the time. If you have any questions in the chat, go ahead and ask, and then we'll hop into Jarvis.
Absolutely. Let me throw this over here. Wade was asking about Go High Level. You can technically use Go High Level. I know that they back into one of the local marketing services. They just basically, you're paying for citations through Go High Level, so that's not a huge thing. Let's see, what tool? The tool I was using, that's SEMrush, tracking the ranks for that last slide. Jarvis with GMB is writing up product descriptions, writing up posts, writing up pretty much any of the things that I talked about. Anywhere that there is a space that I can put content in, I will use Jarvis 110%. It just saves me so much time from having to come up with, well, how do I talk about this product, or how do I talk about this service? So that's kind of how I'll do that. That was from Ted. Mark, what about adding geotags to the images? You can add your own, certainly. That's definitely not against Google in any way, shape, or form. You can totally do that. Brian, let's see. Brian, post different than on a WordPress site? Yes, you're looking at more short form posts on Google My Business than you would like a full blog post. So more like short, quick little updates that people can digest easily. Remember, people's attention spans are not that good anymore. I think it's less than a goldfish at this point. So keep it short, keep it punchy, and keep it to, reasonable lengths is really what I would say, is like short form updates, like a little longer than Twitter, a little shorter than a blog post.
Sweet. All right. Well, I got Jarvis here pulled up, so let's work on this together.
All right.
All right. So I think pretty much everybody in this chat's probably going to be a customer. We tend to focus on customer training, so this isn't a sales pitch or anything. This is here to show you how to use the tool, and maybe some prospects will slip in here. But let's focus on Google My Business. We got, if you're doing paid traffic, these 2 are awesome. Let's go into the different types of posts here. So let's start off with product description. All right. So I actually want to use real examples from here in the chat. So how about somebody tells me a quick, give me your product company name and just one sentence. I don't need a lot, just one sentence here about your product. And then we'll show you, how we can optimize it and get the best outcome from Jarvis. There's some tricks of the trade here. All right. Sonia beat everybody to it. So body fitness. Sir Newitt Fitness. All right. Sonia, why don't you tell me a little bit about this? Body circuit fitness. All right. And is this a local fitness studio, like a CrossFit type? In-home. Oh, it's a mobile training. That's cool. Home studio. Wait, is this an e-commerce product or a local business? Okay, cool. So it's a local fitness home studio. All right. All right. We can keep, let's do energetic since it's fitness. And we can change our languages here. So I'm going to say, our English output is also English. What do you guys think about this, by the way? This is a new update that we did here over the last week and a half or so. If you guys are from other countries, this is big. All right, let's generate. You really don't have to give it all that much. Jarvis will understand the context. But the more that we give it, let's say that there's like differentiators here. And Sonia, you can, welcome to give me more than just this here. I took some liberties. All right. So product description, local home fitness studio, working out circuit training. All right. Group classes, boot camps, help you reach your fitness goals. All right. She just said it's a personal training boot camp for mind, body, and spirit. Perfect. We can generate more and even compare how it's going to pull in more of this kind of stuff and expand upon boot camp training. So look at this here. Buddy Circle Fitness is a boot camp personal training studio that helps their clients get results they want. Group fitness and more. The mission is to help people change their lives for the better by applying all aspects of health and wellness. So you notice that in the beginning, it didn't have all that much because we didn't talk about mind, body, and spirit. So some of the core values that Sonia's, given us here are being threaded in. This is also great for SEO. What do you think about these? I'm curious your opinion, Dan. What are you looking for in a product description?
Options are great. I would just add in, so for example, looking at the first one.
The first one?
First one's fine. So for this one, I'd say Body Circuit Fitness is a whatever the city is instead of local.
Okay.
So I would change that to
we'll just say Austin, Texas for now.
Yeah. Get fit with the help of knowledgeable trainers in an air-conditioned environment, group classes, and individual. Yeah, that's perfect. I would leave it just like that because it mentions fitness studio, circuit training, personal training, boot camp, all in a line, and then trainers, air-conditioned environment, all these different things that people would be looking for. So somebody might type in personal training, air-conditioned, or something like that, and they might be in the Austin, Texas area. This post might show up inside of Google My Business or in Google Maps if somebody's looking for it. So having that as an update, maybe a picture of an air conditioner in the room or a picture of the environment they're working in, whatever, you could do stuff like that and just have it in there.
Cool. I love it. All right. So that's how that one works. Let's roll back to some of the other ones. We can get our dashboard. And now let's look at do a post here. All right, so let's roll with another example. I'm going to just look at some of the old ones. So we got, I'm curious, would luxury real estate work for Google My Business?
Yeah.
Or real estate in general? Real estate agents, commercial or residential?
Absolutely. That's one of my biggest partnership clients right now, actually, is a national real estate franchise that we're building out. So the stuff we're covering here is stuff that we're doing on a daily basis.
Okay, cool. So let's roll with Brian Knox's, where he sells luxury real estate.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So when we talk about this, I'm guessing luxury would be residential. So I help people sell luxury homes and move into their dream home. I'm gonna take some liberties here of Austin so we can move faster.
Yeah.
And I would say luxury is probably a tone of voice.
Let's see how it goes.
Discover Austin's best neighborhoods with me. Interested buyers can contact me for a consultation or review my website, learn more. Look at that. Jarvis just created a website, luxuryrealestateaustin.com /
Yep.
contact. I love it. All right. I specialize in people helping look and sell, move into their new homes for a price at 1 million and up. I love that it brought in the local zip code 512
Yeah.
or area code. Sweet. Okay. And so in something like this, we'll roll here. So what would you say as some updates to a new post like this? Remember, this
Sure.
is everyone. This is not a description. This isn't always living on your page. This is a post like how you would post on Facebook or something else, but you're doing it on Google My Business.
Exactly. So for something like this, I might say, let's see, take that out, of course. I would take out the luxury real estate agent part because we're doing kind of a what's new. So I would
You
change.
could say, "Hey, y'all, I'm Brian."
Yep.
Introducing himself. This is like what you do on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And you say, okay, what else would you do?
Yeah, sells our home or move into new homes, typically priced 1 million and up. And I would just add something to the end of the 1 million and up sentence and say within the Austin Metroplex.
Cool.
And then I would take out everything after that last dash after the email address.
Let's see. Right here.
Yep. Everything after that, just pull that out.
Great.
That's it. That's all you need to do.
That's great. And probably add some photos,
Yeah.
geotag on those photos, maybe show, client photos where it shows their home and maybe like a number of days it was on the market or,
Yeah.
how much above asking, something like that.
Absolutely. And I mean, doing luxury real estate, of course, there's no shortage of photos. So,
Yep, absolutely. All right, cool. And we'll just do one more. And, we have a few others, but which would you like to do, Dan?
let's do the event post.
Okay. All right. And so when we talk about events, anybody have an event coming up soon that we can use as an example? Let's see. Oh yeah, we can do the Maui.
There you go.
If you guys don't know, we're going to Maui in September for the Jarvis retreat. It was something that kind of was spontaneous, and I'm excited that we're doing it. We have a customer that lives out there that has offered to help coordinate hotels, get us discounts. And so we'll do like a 1.5 to 2 day like Jarvis intensive. And then I'm going to stay out there for a little while and just enjoy the beautiful Maui island. So let's roll with it. We can say for, maybe a local marketing agency that's doing a 1 day retreat intensive and they are based in Maui. How about that scenario?
Yeah, that could work.
Okay. Hey, we're Jarvis, a local marketing agency, and we're having our annual event in Maui. Great. Now for this tone of voice, we could do, how about, let's have some fun. Suspenseful. Oh, right. There's just a little bug here that's making me switch to English every time. All right. And 3 outputs. Good to go. Jarvis annual event in Maui. Like this. All right. So,
Yep.
This is kind of the structure of what a post would need to be anyway. So that's why it's structured this way. You would just put this here in the event name and this in the event details.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you see this. What are some important details that might need to be added or removed here in an event post?
So it's got pretty much everything we need. It's got the location. It's got
Here's
the
the
date.
hook.
Yeah. So we got location, date. We've got we got this. Let's do it the other way. We've got Maui for the city. We've got September for the date. We've got the Hilton Resort and Spa as the location. And we've got 50 spots available. The only thing I would really add to this is at the bottom, maybe a link to some sort of ticket thing. So
the call to action.
Yeah, that's really all you need. Everything else is included. So September 20th, Hilton Resort and Spa, all that sort of stuff. This is perfect for what you need. And then you would just put in your link to whatever calendar booking or ticket booking system you have, and Google will take that up. Or if you want to go a little bit, you can go a little sideways with it. You can go ahead and put an appointment booking. You can put this in the appointment booking link in the Google My Business and say, post this as an update, and then say, hey, go to the appointments tab. And then they click that, and that'll take them to the ticket.
So go to and that's on their Google My Business page.
So
is that always there? Because events are often like have an expiry.
Yeah. So you could technically swap it in there for the duration of however long you're doing the promotion for. And then you can go back to putting your regular link in there afterwards. They won't ding you too much for it.
Okay, cool. Wow, that's pretty sweet, guys. Who here has already used some of these templates for their local business? I'd be curious to hear how the results are going. And as you all know, the culture in our company, we're always improving. We're always listening to you and making these better, especially as we get customers that rank and have like really success stories. We go and analyze what they adapted to their post, and then we apply the learnings to the algorithm and teaching Jarvis to do even better.
Absolutely. I can tell you from our experience so far using it with the real estate company, we have, I think, 10 or 15 Google My Businesses we're working on right now. We're expanding it to 5 different states just from the Google My Business optimization and using the post from Jarvis. We went from having brand new Google My Businesses with nothing on them to doing 3 posts a week. And in the area that those GMBs are, they're getting about 25, 30 calls a month after the first month.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're all for people looking to sell houses.
So that's wild. So if you're in real estate, it's going to be a killer for you.
Yeah. I mean, any business, as long as you're being consistent and you consistently show up for your customers and you show up for Google, you'll be able to knock this out easy. Like you can start seeing results within a month.
Big time. At what point would you recommend moving from a Google site to a real site?
I would say as soon as you are, how do I put this? So I would move from a Google site to a real site as soon as you are able to secure the domain. You think that you're going to start posting regular updates, because if you keep the site fresh and you keep Google My Business fresh, Google will reward you for both. So you'll have the Google My Business ranking, and then you'll also have the organic ranking in SEO. So you can take up 2 spots on the first page doing it that way if you really wanted to.
And if you did ads, you could do 3.
Yep. Yeah, and you could still have the Google site up. It just wouldn't be listed as your main site inside of the Google My Business listing. So that site would still exist on the internet and rank and do all the things it's supposed to do, in addition to your website, in addition to the Google My Business. And then if you want to take it a step further, I know I had posted this as a process in the group. Have Jarvis with the long form editor write a post, turn that into a video using something like Vidnami, and now you've got 4 things on the first page because now you've got a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. And you
Yeah.
can use, again, a lot of this work is, cross-functional. So,
hmm
what you do on social, you can really rework that, post it on Google My Business. If you're going to do a blog post on your own website, you can also, maybe post on Google My Business an update and even link back to that. Is that a good
Yeah.
idea to link back from a Google My Business post to your personal website or to your company's website?
Absolutely. That's another way to drive traffic. And here's the fun part from an SEO perspective, you just got a backlink from Google to your website. So thinking of it that way, like you now have a link from Google to your web page. That's enough. That's kind of what they say is like link juice. And that's a high value thing because Google's domain is like, as far as authority goes, is like 99 out of 100. So you're getting a link from one of the top tier sites on the internet pointing at your website, and Google goes and looks at the link and goes, who's linking to this guy? Oh, it's me. I love me. Let's do this. And you'll start to see your site start to crawl up.
Yeah, totally. And some people might be daunted by the amount of tasks that they have to do in marketing. Um, a filter that I ask myself all the time, it's a phrase that keeps me sane, is I ask myself, what would this look like if it were easy? And that helps me simplify a lot of things. What I do is like, okay, well, it would be easier if I just had, one form of this post. And then I just think about it as distribution. So I do the same post on Facebook page, Facebook groups, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google My Business, my personal website, our company website, and do the same post all over the place. And maybe I could use, a Hootsuite or Buffer or something to distribute rather than having to always change it to all these different, platforms. And, it doesn't have to be a 5-hour task per post. It can just be one.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've gotten for the real estate company with the amount of sites and Google My Businesses that we have and all that other sort of stuff, we've boiled it down to basically I'll go and write the blog post, optimize it with long form and Surfer. That gets fed over to the content team. They take that, turn it into a PDF, a downloadable, a video, a Google My Business post, a social media scheduled post for a full year. And then that also gets shared out to 250 other websites every time it goes onto the blog. And that takes them about 90 minutes.
Wow. Yeah. And batching is such a key task to do. Like I'll do like one Sunday a month and like really plan out a content strategy. And then I just show up to my calendar, I think that's, think about for your future self, put everything that you want to do, all your goals, all the tasks you need to do. And then just all you have to do is show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a slave to my calendar. And at the same time, I know that my calendar is written by my best self, the one that was dreaming about what to do and what goals to hit. So I don't know. That's a little personal advice on if you ever. I think the best book in the world on how to hit your goals is called The Effective Executive.
Mm-hmm.
I can't highly recommend it enough.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. Cool. Well, as we wrap up here, guys, if there's any more questions, where can they find you?
So they can either find me in the Conversion.ai group, find me on Facebook. I'm in the process of redoing my website, so that's another thing. But when we get to that point, that'll happen. And then I believe I'm a little bit almost done with it, but I'm almost done with the course that we had talked about last time. And some of the things I've chatted about here, like Vidnami and multi-purposing and all that, is a full walkthrough video SOP for everybody. So that's almost ready. And that'll be good to go here shortly. So everybody who's got Jarvis, they'll be able to grab that and just kind of run with it and do what they do best. Do less, get more.
Yeah. You want to give like a 1-minute overview of what that course is going to be about?
Sure. Basically, it's how to use Jarvis as your cornerstone pillar for creating all of your content for social, for Google, for blogging, for whatever you're using it for video. And then taking it from Jarvis, multi-purposing it into these different platforms, and then automating your content marketing strategy so that you can go ahead and do what you do best, which is run your business, not the other way around. You don't want your content running you. You want to run your content. So that's what we're going to be covering, is like how to do that, how to make videos on the fly, how to turn those videos into podcasts, how to do content creation and production. So by the time it's done, you look like you are $100 million brand posting all this content all the time. In reality, it's either you and a couple of VAs, or it's just you by yourself, just scheduling out posts and looking like you're everywhere all the time.
Wow. Cool. And about what's the time frame on that going to be published?
Probably, I would say the next 2 weeks or so we'll be ready.
Perfect. So we will stay tuned for that, y'all. And then next week's training, Thursday at the same time, 12 p.m. EST, is going to be with Sean Vossler. We're going to talk about how to land your clients to write Jarvis for them. So if you're an agency, content writer, ghost writer, even in SEO, then this is going to be mostly about acquisition of clients and then workflow of how to onboard clients in a way to use Jarvis to fasten your workload. And so you can actually increase your bandwidth, because so often agency owners, content writers, freelancers, they get stuck in what's called the freelancer's trap, where I got stuck in this back in 8 years ago when I had my own marketing agency. I was doing local Facebook ads and SEO for clients. And because I was a freelancer, I would have clients come into my business. I'd be sell for like 15 to 20 days, land a couple clients, and then do all the work for the next 30 days. And then in month 3, I'd be back to broke because I wasn't selling. I was doing all the work. And so what Jarvis is going to be what Sean's going to teach you to do with Jarvis is to get clients. Yes, he's going to be focused a lot on sales, but then also how to systemize your work and get more done in less time, increase your bandwidth, so that in the 3rd month, you can have compound interest growing, where you're able to set up the framework to take on more clients and have the retainers, and how to position yourself to have ongoing success. So that's coming out next week. Stay tuned for that. You have to register. Go to the Academy, Conversion.ai/Academy. And got some very exciting news coming up in about a month. So I don't know. That's all I'm going to say for that. With that, y'all, give Dan some love in the Facebook group for this training. And the replay will be up later today.
Yep. Also, if I didn't answer your question, I'm going to start a thread in there, and you guys can ask whatever I missed. And I'm more than happy to do what I can for you guys.
Fantastic. Dan, thanks so much for delivering on value today. And everybody, thank you for showing up live. I'll see you all on the inside.
All right. Take care, guys.